welcome back to the channel. It's Mika Gam and welcome to a new dragging video. So I was kind of trying to find new ways of making this series fun to watch because I have to think it's fun, right? So I was thinking it could be really cool to do videos where we do one brand only. So today is the beginning of a 4-part series. Today we're doing Cartier only, then we'll do Louis Vuitton, then we'll do Big C, then we'll do Big H. Tell me what you think. This is part 1. Let's get started. I'm kind of here for Cartier getting everyone together. It's quite funny. Let's start here at the Cartier flagship store in Toronto in Canada. I'm really disappointed by my experience here, and it's strictly because of the customer service. We made an appointment with SA number 1 to look for wedding bands. We arrived and checked in at 6 p.m. and instead of receiving a friendly greeting, he walked over and said, "Well, I was trying to call you to see if you're still coming." They had made an appointment. His whole demeanor was off-putting and it set a negative tone for the rest of the appointment. His entire attitude was really dismissive and left us with the impression that he was bored. He only showed us bands that he liked and any opinion I had was quickly disregarded. Everything was really rushed. At one point, my fiance was looking at the ring on his finger. SA number 1 just stood there looking away, tapping his finger at the glass. I didn't expect him to pull out the red carpet for us, but I expected better manners. Again, big Cartier baby, this is what I suggest. And I think Richemont should cut me a check. Richemont baby, send me a check. Just make boutiques that are only for, well, not boutiques. Make like a pop-up or a salon that's just for the engagement rings. Because it's obvious that you don't want to sell them in your main flagships. Or even better, make them appointment only where people are completely sure that they're going to buy, and make sure that you have pieces that you know people are going to buy. Because what's the point of going through all of this? And it's just so unpleasant for the client, and it's really unpleasant as well for the SA. The SA here is wrong. It's wrong for you to, and that's so irritating, just me doing it here. Imagine me just tapping like that. You know, that's very rude and irritating and very irritating for someone to do. Same store, Cartier Toronto. Me and my girlfriend were here shopping for an engagement ring. We know where this is going. This was about an hour after doing the same thing at Tiffany. We had an appointment on both occasions while Tiffany was welcoming, and they offered us Evian mineral water. Okay, Cartier gave us nothing, no water, no seats, no napkins. In terms of rings, Tiffany had a much bigger selection. Cartier only had 1 collection, and when we told the lady who we made our appointment with what our budget was, she obviously saw that she couldn't make a huge commission off us and stopped trying, and she only offered us rings well outside the budget we gave in order to get rid of us, and it works. We left in 5 minutes. Look, I'm sorry. I am not going to Cartier to buy an engagement ring unless it's a pricey one, because you could, I think if you have a much more affordable budget, I think it makes more sense to go to a jeweler, because here they're saying they're looking for engagement rings. It makes more sense to go to a jeweler. I'm not one of those people who's go to a jeweler for everything and don't buy branded jewelry, because I think local jewelers benefit a lot from Cartier, VCA, Chopard, and Tiffany's original ideas, because people dupe their ideas at local jewelers. But I think it does make sense to say, if you're going to get an engagement ring, just go to a jeweler with the budget you have, because you could probably get something. You could get something really significant at a local jeweler. And if your budget is more affordable and you need to work with it a little bit more, I think somewhere like Cartier will be really hard, because they just have they'll have engagement rings that are 100K, 200K. And those are the ones that they want to sell. They also want to sell the 50,000 euro rings and the 60,000 euro rings. If this person had 50K euros or 50,000 Canadian dollars or 60,000 Canadian dollars, I guarantee you the SA would be running around after them. It doesn't sound like that's the budget that they had. And obviously I'm speculating, but I think it's a fair assumption to make. I just wouldn't stress myself. Me personally, I understand wanting the Cartier experience, but unless your budget is significant for an engagement ring, I wouldn't stress myself. Same location. We had the worst experience ever at Cartier. My husband and I went in on a weekday to look at an engagement ring and a bracelet. Woo! The store wasn't busy, but when we arrived, we were told to wait. We ended up standing there for 20 minutes with no one helping. We were literally right behind them waiting. And even though they saw us, no one bothered to assist, especially one SA who was really dismissive. My husband finally went up to ask him what's happening. And then someone said, oh, no one's helping you. Fine, one of us will go and get you some help, just wait. After that, we waited another 10 minutes. We got up and we left. Out of all of the Cartier locations, this was the worst. It felt like the employees thought they were the clients and we were inconveniencing them. I think, you know, the waiting game at some of these Cartier boutiques doesn't sound like it's particularly pleasant. I'm wondering, like, what is the goal of having people wait a long time? Because it doesn't sound like it's particularly nice. I was very disappointed in my recent experience at Cartier. When paying for my watch with American Express, I instinctively tapped my card. The associate abruptly pulled the machine away and said, we don't accept tap, in a very rude way. The payment terminal clearly shows the tap option. If it's not supported, the machine will simply decline. No need to treat a client like that. While waiting for my watch to be wrapped, I shared this feedback with the manager, but he dismissed it as if this behavior was normal. For a luxury brand like Cartier, expected rudeness and professionalism. This is a really interesting one. I feel like both of them are kind of overreacting. I think the SA overreacted. I don't think you need to overreact when you're paying. I think you could just be like, you know, the SA could just be like, oh, sorry, we don't accept tap for this. But, well, anyway, she's wrong because they do accept tapping because the payment terminal said that it does accept tapping. So I think the SA is definitely the wrong person here, but also I think the client shouldn't overreact. Don't panic and overreact over small things. I'm always really suspicious of luxury shopping reviewers who panic and overreact over, like, things which I don't think are a big deal, and I know that's terrible, but it's my luxury dragging series, so I get to inject my feeling a little bit more. Just both of you calm down and take a time out. How about that? Next location is the Cartier Elysees, where I bought my love ring here in Paris. Friendly staff. Friendly staff. Our SA was really great on day one. We had a great experience. Told us about the VAT and showed us a bunch of Santos watches. The next day, I went back to get some minor cleaning for the watch. It's brand new. They flat out refused and told me they don't clean it until I send it out for service. It made me feel really welcome, even though we bought 2 watches from them 24 hours ago. That's... that is how it is. Like, I feel like at some of these boutiques, like, the moment you buy, they literally don't care about you anymore. Like, after you purchase and spend all of your money, they're like, okay, cool. We don't care anymore. Same location. 2 months after I visited, I'm still really upset. We waited about 15 minutes wandering around. It was clear the SAs were ignoring us. They were playing on their phones, combing their hair, putting lipstick on. Eventually, my partner went to ask if we could be helped, in which case an SA came and asked what we wanted. She didn't greet us, no courtesy, just a transactional question. I was looking for earrings. She brought out one. She was looking for 2 pairs of earrings. The SA brings out 1 pair. Dismissively tells me the other one is hard to find. It didn't attempt to find them. While I bought the earrings she brought out, kicking myself as neither the store nor the SA did anything to earn my commission. Finally, to earn my customer, beg your pardon. Finally, she figured out it was a milestone birthday, offered little more than a week happy birthday. Skip this boutique and the boutique in Harrods. Harrods getting dragged. If you want a high-end customer experience, go to Manhattan or San Francisco. Look, girl, let me tell you, baby, this location is where I bought my love ring. You know, my husband was like, I think we should pass by there just because he's heard me talk about it so much and I feature it in the dragon video so much. I'm like, if we're going in there, one of us is buying something today. Because I'm not going up in big Cartier Champs-Elysees Paris store if I'm not buying something. I was buying something and I low-key was being dragged for the first 20 minutes until she realized okay, she's buying. The next one is Cartier Vendome in Paris at the Place Vendome. The SA was giving us a hard time for looking at the price of what we were planning to buy, which is ridiculous. Should I not know how much I'm spending? I wanted to see how much I'd be spending here compared to the US. He was glaring and looked really annoyed. I felt so uncomfortable that I told him I'd think about it and come back. He rolled his eyes and scrolled his phone, dismissing all of us. It was the worst experience I've had at any store. I still plan to buy what was intended, but just not at this store. Don't come here if you're not ready to swipe your card blindly, and don't come here if you don't want to be treated like a second-class citizen. This store is the Place Vendome boutique, and for those of you who haven't been in Paris, the Place Vendome is where all the high jewelry and all the luxury jewelry babes are located. And in fact, I think technically for something to be considered high jewelry, you have to have an atelier at the Place Vendome. Well, I say this to say that the kind of clientele that go to this store are people who are buying, like, you know, spending 50,000 in one day, 60,000 one day, 100K in one day, frankly, €1,000,000 in a day, like one person. Those are the types of people who go to the store. So yeah, that if you're like, you know, I think that they kind of feel like if you're being really annoying, trying to ask how much everything is, they'd rather you just leave and just go on the website. I'm not saying I agree, but I'm just trying to explain the location. Same location. I was greeted warmly and immediately asked but then I was immediately asked to leave the store as soon as I requested a repair for a wedding band I had bought there. Yes, they told me to go to a ring repair shop around the corner, which didn't exist. There's no after sales service at Vendome, Cartier, and this essay lacked professionalism and respect. However, the service is good at the Cartier Elysees, which is known for dragging everyone. So again, everyone has a different experience. Again, me personally, I wouldn't go to the Vendome Cartier to ask for a repair. It's very fancy, very glam, very gorgeous looking. Me personally, I wouldn't. If you guys want to, and then want to get dragged and then come and tell me to complain about it, it's up to you. I wouldn't. Same location. A welcome that was anything but a luxury. We came to choose our wedding rings and were asked to leave. I can't. After 20 minutes of exploring them with a tired SA who yawned at us under the pretext we weren't going to buy. Furthermore, like another jewelry house located across the street, this SA didn't bother taking our contact info nor our favorites to follow up with us via email. We're really disappointed we won't be purchasing from them from this prestigious location on Vendome. Yeah, you know, again, Big Cartier does not want you to come in there buying engagement rings, like the really affordable ones. They were here to buy their wedding bands. So those are like, just quickly off the top of my head, I think in France the wedding bands are like €1,500 a pop. I think 1,500 euros a pop. Not even that. I think they're like under that. They're very affordable. So I think that they kind of feel like, just my opinion, but I think that they kind of feel like, why are you coming to Place Vendome boutique to buy a €1,500 ring or €1,400 ring? I think that's how they see it. I'm not saying it's right, because I know some of you think that, oh, you agree. I'm just trying to explain so you guys can understand. The next one is a Cartier boutique on Faubourg Saint-Honoré. On the next trip, I'm going to pop into this Cartier because it's opposite the Big H. So those of you who haven't been to Paris, you have like Big H here, then you have Cartier Faubourg, then you have Chanel Faubourg, and Bottega Veneta is also over there as well. I will definitely pass by here. So this was one boutique I'm interested in because I always see it every time I go to Hermès in Paris. I've just never been in there. I was never treated so rudely in my life. I was staying at Sofitel and leaving Sofitel Faubourg, which is a hotel close to here, and leaving early next morning. Walked over to Cartier to purchase a watch. This was going to be a special souvenir. I researched prior and I knew what I wanted. I was ready to buy the Tank Louis in yellow gold. The person who greeted me stopped me from entering, asked if I had an appointment. I did not, and had only arrived several hours before and did not know I needed one. The store had a few people shopping, and from what he pointed out, one couple was waiting. I could have waited, but he said no, I couldn't. I'd have to make an appointment and come back another time. I explained we were already leaving to go somewhere else, but it didn't matter. I wasn't allowed to buy the watch. I've worked in an independent jewelry shop for 30 years. I've never gone through not being allowed by someone to purchase something I wanted. I mean, yeah, I have to say, I agree. This seems so pointless. Like, we talk about this all the time. FYI, guys, of course, I agree with the client here. We talk about this all the time. Like, you need to be clear that you're buying something today. I think it's really strange for them to be like, no, you can't buy the watch. You'd want to sell the watch. That doesn't make sense. So that makes me think maybe maybe the person had come, maybe the person had come towards closing, maybe they were feeling quite stressed about it. That doesn't actually make any sense. So the client is right here. Next one, same location. Since when does a security guard decide to refuse entry to clients? I was extremely shocked by this attitude. We had stepped outside to let a couple leave. Before entering, the security guard clearly slammed the door in our faces. Only after an SA intervened that he agreed to open it for us. Again, such an experience is unacceptable, makes us not want to buy anything. Again, some of these security guards in the Parisian stores really want to play God. I'm going to go there. Some of this is playing God. And they really want to flex their muscles in front of you. That makes no sense. Another couple's leaving the store. They're actually following polite etiquette. Polite etiquette is always the person who leaves exits first, and then if you're waiting, you go in afterwards. They're actually doing the correct thing. And then instead of letting them in like a normal person, you as a security guard slam the door in their face, and then an SA sees that that's wrong, runs over to rectify the situation. Okay, so well done on the SA for rectifying the situation. But again, a lot of these security guards, not all, some of them really some of them really just need to, kind of get over it. She goes on here to say that they decided not to go in after the security guard slammed the door, but the SA did try and rectify the situation. I would have gone in even if the security guard, if I'd seen the SA say, oh, I'm sorry about that, was a misunderstanding, please come, I would have gone in. But I think that a lot of these security guards in Paris specifically, some of them like to play God, and some of them are a bit overzealous. I've had so many experiences I've shared here. I've had, bad experiences. I've had good experiences. It's not all doom and gloom. Some of them are really nice. I remember at the Dior Champs-Elysees last year when I was pregnant, one of the security guards came up to me and asked me in French, like, would you like to use the lift? Because of your condition. And I was like, I was already walking up the stairs. I was like, oh, that's so nice. But I was like, I think on the way down, I'll use the lift. And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then on the way down, I used the lift. But that's like one nice experience. I've had so many horrible experiences with security guards in luxury stores. And I think a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them want to play God in the store. And I do understand that a lot of clients are really rude to them, but there's no justification for this. So on the client side here, Cartier Vienna in Austria. We had planned to buy some rings at the Cartier store, but had a really disappointing experience due to poor service and unprofessional treatment. First, we had to wait an hour just to enter the store, followed by more waiting inside. No one even offered us water, while another group nearby had a table of drinks. People really get triggered about this drink stuff. Second, the SA assisting us was really impatient and inattentive. Instead of showing us the full ring selection, she kept moving us between floors. The assortment was disappointing. There wasn't a lot of stuff. If you're not dressed in extravagant luxury clothing and don't want to experience dismissive treatment, I wouldn't recommend. I have to say, I think for this location, Vienna, I would assume that people are really well dressed. I've heard about Viennese glamazons looking really, super tailored, super chic. I wouldn't come to this boutique looking a mess, personally. The person knows that they looked a mess. That's why they're making a reference to, if you're not dressed extravagantly, you're going to get dragged and all of this. I think a lot of people take the drink stuff really personally. Generally speaking, I think Cartier, they will offer you something to drink, especially, I think, if they think you're going to buy something. If you're browsing, probably won't, but I think if they think you're going to buy something, they will. The next one is the Cartier de la Paix boutique. This is a flagship store for Cartier in France, in Paris. Not the best experience. I don't recommend this location. I'm really sad. The SAs were not friendly if you don't look like you have money. The store itself is great because it has multiple floors and many items on display. The only issues are their workers. The SAs do not seem to care unless you have a lot of money. Some people may not look physically rich, but they do have lots of money to spend, so it's really sad their attitude lost them a sale. Do better, Cartier. Yeah, again, I don't have a lot of sympathy. I'm sorry, but this is the flagship store for the Cartier house worldwide. This is the mothership boutique for Cartier. It has a famous history. I think I think Louis Cartier's son was involved in like the original building, something like that. Members of the Cartier family were involved in actually getting the boutique open. So this is like a really famous boutique in the history of the house. They're gonna have people gonna turn up there looking like hundreds of millions of pounds. I think it is a fair assumption to, I think, just put your best foot forward in this store. The fact that the person keeps mentioning that they're not going to treat you well if you look like you don't have money. I agree that not everyone dresses like they have 10 million pounds in their accounts. I agree, but I think it's worth noting a lot of people from English-speaking Western countries need to understand, and I've said this before, that in France, I'm sorry. In France, France's culture about clothing is even the most casual looking person still looks really, really well dressed. And most people who have lots of money in France, they look like money. They look like money because France's sartorial culture is like looking your best at all times. And it's always been there. Like I said, a casual look in France is like someone super, super well dressed in lots of other parts of the world. So when sometimes people are like effortless Parisian glam, what they mean is someone who's really, really well dressed. You know what I mean? So I think you should kind of be aware of that and be aware that people are really well dressed, and you yourself will also be expected to be well dressed. And I think that the person keeps saying how the essays are not friendly if you didn't look like you have money. But that's because it's the flagship store for Cartier. They get the top spenders of Cartier go there to buy high jewelry and things like that. I think they also have a VIP suite there. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Next one is the Cartier central location in Hong Kong. Amazing products, but very poor service. Went in for a lighter refill and a check and was only offered services for a cost, while this type of brand is expected to care about their clients, not only profits. Yeah, I mean, if you're going in there to refill the lighter, they don't care. Again, the Hong Kong location, maybe for big Cartier, I would not go in there to refill a lighter or refill a perfume or whatever. Like, there's certain locations you are asking to be handled and checked. Me personally, I wouldn't. The next one is Cartier Milan. We walked into the Cartier boutique in Milan as a family of four, you know where this is going, ready to celebrate our daughter's graduation with something special. What we expected was a world-class service from a world-renowned brand. Instead, we got selective hospitality and inconsistent treatment until our spending justified our existence. Turn up. From the moment we arrived, the experience was disappointing. We were assigned a dismissive essay who sat us at a desk with only 2 chairs, casually told the others to stand. No apology, no effort to accommodate, just indifference. Someone came over to ask if we want water. Our rep waved us away. Meanwhile, the family next to us was being offered drinks and doted on. Apparently, we didn't deserve basic courtesy because we hadn't spent enough. That changed once we purchased 2 bracelets instead of 1. Suddenly chairs were offered, water was offered, smiles were shown. That's not service, that's opportunism. I then showed interest in a high-ticket bracelet and was told we were lucky to be taken to the 3rd floor where they have ice cream. Lucky. No, Cartier was lucky. We were still entertaining the idea of spending more after such a poor experience. Although service was better upstairs, the sour taste lingered. I love the bracelet, but I decided not to buy it, not because of the price, but I don't reward businesses that don't respect you, that only respect you once you swipe your card. Whatever, you can sit your butt down. This review has a picture. The person did end up buying, basically the person bought the 2 bracelets that they had said, but then the high ticket item is probably a pavé bangle, a pavé bracelet, it's probably that. The high ticket bracelet is probably one of the pavé bracelets, right? They decided not to buy. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, okay, but there are a bunch of mistakes that they made here, so let's kind of go through them together. And if anyone has a moan at me, you can spin around in your chair all day, I don't care, okay? The first mistake they made, family of 4, they're obviously children here, make an appointment. For the love of God and everything that is great in this world, make an appointment, okay? And say that you are coming with minor children. Why, you ask me? They will accommodate you. They know very well. I think in most cases, I think CAs understand that if someone has bothered to come with a child or children, they're going to buy something. So they're not going to waste their time at your store stressing out with a bunch of kids. So obviously there were children involved. If there's a family of 4, or maybe there were some older adults there as well. make an appointment. They just walked in there. They didn't have an appointment. They were celebrating their daughter's graduation. They should have made an appointment. I think make an appointment, and if you have an opportunity to add notes, say that you're coming to celebrate your daughter's graduation. You're going to be a family of 4. Just making things up here. They're 2 minor children. We're really looking forward to our appointment. They will create a private room. They would have. I refuse to believe that Cartier Milan. At minimum, if it's not a private room, it would have been a nice little nook somewhere in the boutique, and it would have been very comfortable. The SA was really dismissive and told them to stand. Yeah, that's wrong. Someone came over and asked me, like, what are the SA wasting away? The SA doesn't think they're going to buy. You see now how it works, right? The SA's feeling you out. It's kind of like they're in the Serengeti. Guys, I've said it before. Luxury shopping and the Serengeti are like 2 similar things. The animals are scoping each other out. Are you a lion, baby? Are you a crocodile? Or are you a gazelle and an impala? Because let's be clear, lions and crocodiles eat impalas and gazelles, not the other way around. That's right. Which one are you, baby? And then once they start spending, that's when things change. They bring out chairs, they bring out water, they begin to smile because the sales are coming. Now, I know you're going to be like, oh, they shouldn't have judged a book by its cover. Yes, they shouldn't have. But this family know very well, if they are experts in luxury shopping, and it sounds like they know a lot about luxury shopping, they know that they should have made an appointment, and what they should have started off with, what? The most expensive thing first. Because I think that is really important these days. I think if you're going to be buying a bunch of stuff, start off with the most expensive thing first. Because I think that will guarantee better treatment, especially if you're just walking into the boutique and you haven't made an appointment. That will guarantee that really excellent treatment. Versus like going in there, looking at more affordable things and being like, hey, I think I'm going to buy the Paix Love bracelet. Yeah, they're going to fly around you. They're going to be like, oh, you can go upstairs. There's ice cream. It's good to know that the Milan Cartier has ice cream for top spenders. They were good spenders, but they made some mistakes that got them in a stressful position. But the SAs were also super rude as well. And I think it's just the exhaustion of dealing with a lot of people who look and don't buy. Again, unfortunate, but this is a bit I don't like. I love the bracelet, but decided not to buy it because of the sour taste. But they were already treating you really well. I don't know. Like Oasis said, don't look back in anger. What's with people and their I thought I held grudges, but people in dragging reviews really do hold grudges. I don't know. My tolerance is just quite high. I'm not. Again, as long as it's not a racial profiling incident, and when you're being racially profiled in a store, it's really obvious, particularly for black and brown luxury glamazons. It's really obvious for us that we're being profiled. But unless it's like because sometimes like the person thinks you can't buy because they don't think you're gonna buy. That's why I'm always clear that I'm buying. I think that they should have started with the really expensive high-ticket bracelet. I'm willing to spend money to diamond Paix bracelet. I think they should have walked in and been like, hi, we're here as a family. I would love to buy the XYZ super high-ticket bracelet, and I want to buy my daughter a graduation gift. That laser clear cut and that focused. The final one is also at Milan Cartier. Now I have to go here. Unfortunately, the staff isn't professional. Everything is average and not what you expect. Not enough explanations, info about products. They didn't even offer where to put the bag. They offered water really late when we were already buying. It wasn't comfortable. At the end of the visit, we already made our purchase. The SA said she had another client and left. She didn't even take us to the exit. No one said goodbye to even us at the exit, like they're no longer interested. We felt comfortable. We felt very uncomfortable, and we saw that in the store they were like, there was only another client, and their 3 or 4 employees were just standing talking to each other. We won't come back. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal that they didn't walk you to the exit. The person is an SA. They're not a flight attendant. Okay, this is not British Airways. This is not Air France. This is not Lufthansa. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal that you won't walk to the exit. Especially if you just bought, like, for example, I just bought the love ring. She didn't walk me to the exit, but towards the end of the shopping experience, she knew I was buying, so she cheered up. She began to smile. It was fine, and then I left. I don't think that the SA has to walk you to the exit if you haven't spent a ton of money. If I spend 50, 60, 70, if I spend 100,000 at Cartier, yes, you can walk me to the exit, but I wouldn't hold that against the SA. I think that this location just sounds super competitive for clients. It just sounds like a really competitive store. So I feel like a lot of tourists are having a bad experience at this Cartier Milan because it's a really competitive Cartier where people are spending a lot of money. So to you, buying your love bracelet, to you is a lot of money. And it is a lot of money. I think the love bracelet right now in standard gold, I don't remember how much it is, but the small Juste un Clou bracelet is like 3,000 euros and some change. I think it's like 3,700. It's just under 4,000. That small thin one. And again, that's a lot of money, but they get people like that every minute of the day. So again, it's not like they're not going to lose sleep from that. There was a really great comment here actually about Cartier that one of you had left. And I had already decided to film this themed video. So I wanted to read out the comment from Randolph. This is on another video about Cartier luxury essays. I'm dragging people. A lot of these customers don't realize that the essays at Cartier are required to tend to a customer if they're not busy. They're expected to ask discovery questions, to see if the person is buying or kicking tires. Well said. If they don't approach or attempt to engage the client, management will assume the sales associate isn't doing their job, and in many cases, clients will complain, no one helped me at the store. These luxury shops are not petting zoos for nice things. They're places of business. Yes, God. I love that. Oh my God. That is amazing. If you come in, an essay will approach you with the intention of selling because that's literally what they're paid to do. Well said. Oh, I love that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love what we have here. I love this community. Luxury shops are not petting zoos. It's a place of business. Yes, well said. Look, I agree. I have to say, I don't feel sorry for a lot of clients in dragging reviews because I think a lot of people who shop at luxury shops are very entitled. I think you'd be surprised that the people who spend the most are the people who are not fussy, and the people who fuss over drinks and treatment and compare. Like you've noticed in today's stories, people compare themselves to other clients. So in today's Cartier dragging stories, that family was looking at another family being treated better than them. And it's like, okay, but you don't know how much the family spends. You know what I mean? But again, just some tips that I have, what I would do. I would go with little baby Sinai to a Cartier boutique for an appointment, but I would go if my husband was there, and I wouldn't mind passing by if I'm wearing like a coat and I'm carrying him. I think it's fine to pop in, but I would probably do that at a department store. I don't know if I would go with a small infant to a Cartier flagship without an appointment. If I was planning to go with him, I would make an appointment and I would highlight that I have a small infant child and I'm coming with my husband, so that people know that you're coming with a child. You know, you're absolutely allowed to go to luxury shops as a family, but I think you should make an appointment because I think it's just easier for everyone. And I think also people need to understand and be realistic. That's not to say that if you buy something that's gold without diamonds, you know, that you're going to be treated like badly. I think the CA who sold me this, I think that she was kind of like, I was really clear I was buying, and then I realized something, and I remember telling my husband about it, because my husband was like, she either didn't believe you, or people have done this to her before. All in all, I think that people should just be ready to spend, but also, of course, some of these experiences are very unfortunate and quite harrowing, and also just make a better effort with looking a little bit more presentable. Even me was like, I'm going to film a dragging video today. Like, you know, I have to put some makeup on, try and look a little bit presentable for the video. I don't think it's far-fetched to have the same expectation when going luxury shopping as well. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.